The tallest tree on Earth stands at an incredible 380 feet and is one of the most amazing natural giants on the planet, hidden deep in a California forest. But before we get to that record holder, let's start with General Sherman, the main attraction at Sequoia National Park. Standing at 275 feet, this massive tree is famous for its huge size and age. Imagine almost 30 of your friends stacked on each other's shoulders, that's how tall it is. Or picture you and a dozen friends holding hands in a big circle just to go around this tree. But Sherman's not just tall, it's also the biggest tree in the world by sheer size. Now, if we could travel back in time to when Sherman was just a little seed, we'd end up during the Roman Empire. Yes, you heard that right. This tree was already starting to grow while Julius Caesar was busy with his famous parties. And guess what? Sherman is still growing, getting a bit bigger every year. It's like that friend who keeps going to the gym and coming back with more muscles. The interesting thing is that this tree adds more bark each year. Speaking of bark, this tree has some serious protection, about 2 feet thick at the bottom. That's thicker than a deep dish pizza. And this bark isn't just for looks. It keeps Sherman safe from fires, bugs, and anything else nature throws at it. If this tree could talk, you know it would have some amazing stories. Can you imagine? Oh, you think your pictures are cool? I've watched people line up here for years, and I've been around for over 2,200 years. And we can't forget the roots. Sherman's roots spread out about 100 feet underground, creating an underground network. Just imagine all the root parties going on down there, with Sherman soaking up water and nutrients like a true titan. So, next time you're at Sequoia National Park, make sure to check out General Sherman, the biggest and most down-to-earth star in the forest. It'll be an experience that reminds you how amazing and big nature really is. Next, we have a Hyperion, which is 380 feet in height. This coast redwood is so tall that you'd probably strain your neck just trying to see the top. Imagine something even taller than the Statue of Liberty, but instead of holding a torch, it's got branches full of thousands of leaves. Hyperion is found in Redwood National and State Parks, hidden away like a celebrity avoiding cameras. To understand just how old Hyperion is, think back to when it first started growing. You'd actually be in the Middle Ages. Back then, knights, kings, and castles were the big deal, and Hyperion was just a tiny sprout. Since then, it's grown in the perfect redwood environment. Misty air, rich soil, and lots of rain. It's like the forest's luxury apartment, where birds, bugs, and other plants live in its upper branches. Now, let's talk about the size. Hyperion's trunk is a huge 27 feet around, big enough to fill a living room with trees and still have room to move. Its bark is thick and spongy, like natural armor, making it tough enough to survive fires and other dangers. Imagine hugging something that's soft and bouncy. It'd be like hugging a cloud. As the world's tallest tree, Hyperion amazes scientists and nature lovers alike. If Hyperion had a motto, it'd probably be something like, "The sky isn't the limit, it's just the start." Coming forward to the Dorner fir, a Douglas fir tree that holds the title for being the tallest of its kind. With 327 feet, it's located in Coos County, Oregon, and it's basically the forest's very own skyscraper. This tree has been around for about 400 years, so if we were to jump back in time, we'd end up in the early 1600s, right when Shakespeare was writing Hamlet. While Shakespeare was crafting famous lines, the Dorner fir was busy growing its own impressive feature. Unlike the wide and bulky sequoias, the Dorner fir is tall and slender. Its slim trunk stretches way up high, reaching sunlight above all the other trees. It even has thick, fire-resistant bark, which acts like natural armor. But this tree isn't just here to look good. It also plays a big role in the environment. It helps prevent erosion, gives shelter to tons of wildlife, and supports its whole ecosystem. The Dorner fir shows that you don't have to be huge to be impressive. It's more like, good things come in tall, slim packages. Imagine standing at the base of this giant, looking up, and maybe even thinking it makes you want to be an astronaut. And if you tried to take a selfie with it, you might say, "Hey Dorner, could you lean a bit to the left?" Perfect. Let's head down under to meet the messmate stringybark, a huge eucalyptus tree that can grow over 300 feet tall. This Aussie superstar is covered in thick, rough bark. It's like wearing a warm sweater made just for the forest. If we could go back in time to see this tree as a sapling, we'd arrive in Australia, around when Captain Cook first explored the continent. It's also made to handle Australia's wild weather. It's like it's got its own fireproof suit, letting it bounce back from bushfires like a champ. But don't let its tough look fool you. This tree has a gentle side. Koalas love hanging out in its branches and munching on those yummy eucalyptus leaves. And it's not just koalas. Birds, insects, and all kinds of small animals depend on this tree. Think of it as Australia's high-rise apartment building, where everyone's welcome to relax and enjoy. This tree has been through a lot, surviving fires that sweep through its area, but always coming back stronger. It's a true sign of resilience, showing us all that even the toughest can survive and thrive after facing a bit of heat. The next on our list is the Rocky Mountains that have ponderosa pine, another big tree. It might not be as tall as the redwoods, but it still grows over 200 feet high. Its bark has a sweet smell, like vanilla or butterscotch. Walking through the mountains and catching that scent feels like nature's own air freshener. A real treat for your senses. The ponderosa pine has been around since the 1700s, even before the Declaration of Independence. This strong tree can handle all kinds of weather, from hot summers to cold winters. Its roots dig deep to keep the soil steady on steep mountain slopes, which helps prevent erosion. Plus, its thick bark is resistant to fire, so it can live for a long time. You might think of it as the wise old grandparent of the forest, standing tall and helping everything stay in place. One of the coolest things about the ponderosa pine is how it can adjust to different places, like a Swiss Army knife ready for anything. It's also an important part of the local ecosystem, providing a home for many animals, like birds and small mammals. So, the next time you're hiking and catch a hint of that sweet vanilla smell, remember, you're not just smelling a tree, you're breathing in a bit of history, strength, and a whole lot of life. Let's move on to the next one on our list, located in Africa, the amazing baobab tree, also known as the Tree of Life. Now, don't expect it to be as tall as a skyscraper. Instead, it has a super wide trunk, up to 50 feet across, that could fit a small apartment inside. It even looks like it's upside down, with roots pointing up like it's trying to do a handstand. Imagine going back in time to when this tree started growing, about 1,000 years ago in ancient Africa. Back then, there were powerful kingdoms and busy trade routes. The baobab tree is like nature's water tank. Its thick trunk can store lots of water, which is a lifesaver during dry times. Local people and animals depend on it to get through droughts. And its fruit, called monkey bread, is tasty and full of vitamins, so even monkeys love it. The tree's bark is also useful for making rope and fabric. It really does it all. But the baobab isn't just a tree. It's a big part of African culture. It's a popular spot for community gatherings. People sit under its huge branches to share stories, make decisions, and celebrate. If you were there, you'd feel surrounded by history and tradition. The baobab stands for life, strength, and the strong connections in a community. So next time you think about trees, remember this amazing tree that's been around for centuries, helping people and animals survive. In the end, the incredible giant sequoia. These trees are like nature's skyscrapers, soaring over 300 feet into the sky. Just picture the General Grant, one of the tallest sequoias, height over everything like a big green giant. They've been around for thousands of years, watching everything from ice ages to the rise of human civilization. Standing next to one feels like getting a glimpse of a wise old guardian, solid, steadfast, and downright awe-inspiring. Now let's talk about their bark. It's super thick, almost like a superhero's armor, protecting them from fires and pests. These trees can take a beating and still stand tall, thanks to their impressive root systems that dig deep into the ground. It's as if they're glued to the earth, reaching for the sky without a care in the world. Some giant sequoias have even been around for over 3,000 years. If they could talk, they'd have enough stories to fill an entire library, having witnessed history unfold while staying rooted in the same spot. What's one thing that amazes you the most about these ancient giants? Share your thoughts in the comment section below.